Before we go, let's talk about gaming difficulties. Listen, I've been playing Neo 2. Oh my god, I'm gonna get my ass kicked, but I love it. And I've been learning the game recently, and the game is actually fun as shit. I mean, I think it's an old game now, isn't it? Neo 2 been around for a while, but I've been playing it. I've been enjoying it. Sir, wait, you wanna? Okay. And sir, you gonna fall. Well,
Like,
anyway,
yo, if I fall, you gonna catch me, fam.
I know, right? And also I've been playing this game called Hades. And there's another difficult game. Now I have a question. Do y'all think there should be more games like that, where games are just difficult like that and test you, or do you think it should be some type of moderation for the casual gamer? I mean, what do you guys think about that? DJ, I'm gonna let you go first.
I think there should be more games, more difficult, challenging games. I feel like our brains are rotting away playing video games in the first place. Well, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I'm saying give us something that you want to talk about immersion. And a lot of people tend to think of immersion as the graphics, the game. Well, the gameplay does go into difficulty, but it's just like if you play a game that's challenging, I know for me, it gets me to trying to figure out, okay, how do I overcome this? Okay, like being able to adapt to a situation. That's why I like when I look at a game like Madden with adaptive AI. When I said this years ago, and I could see people were gonna cry. I don't want to play against adaptive AI. Blah blah blah. They don't want to be challenged. So and this was actually a topic of a few years ago in the gaming community where they were talking about games with difficulty. Do you want to be challenged? Or do you want to just like easygoing games? And it's just like you're putting aside like a regular person game is probably putting aside a couple hours per day gaming or whatnot,
I see.
and you want to be fulfilled throughout that whole entire time. I can't sit through a game 1 to 2 hours and just drone through it without a challenge. Like
All right.
I just honestly think there should be more challenging games out on the market. So and it kind of reminds me of the era of the Nintendos, the Genesis, the Nintendo eras with those type of games.
Right, exactly. Like old Nintendo games, like Complementary Sports, they like Mega Man. Mega Man 1 is not a difficult game, but that last boss, that one that shoots across the field with his particles going from side to side, man, I hate that thing. It took me forever to beat that, but yeah, I love games like that. Bills, what are your thoughts about difficult games? You think they should have more of them, or you think they should like try to cater to the casual person? I mean, what do you think?
Options. That's what you really need is options. You need options to customize how difficult you want a game to be. I think that difficulty, if you really want extreme difficulty, it should be accessible to you. I think if you want an easy path and you just want to play the game, I think that should be accessible to you too. Um, that was kind of the issue in games way back in the day was lack of um, you know you kind of I guess it was positive in a sense that you had to adapt regardless. Like there was no lower the difficulty or let me go online and find out how to beat this level. Like no, there was none of that. I'm gonna leave sports games out of it because that's just we've talked about that.
Yeah, that's
Um,
absurd.
but yeah, it's ridiculous. But I would like to play more campaigns and be able to customize the difficulty the way you could in Last of Us 2.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Sometimes I want my enemies to be more aware of my presence there, as far as me being detected, rather than them to have pinpoint accuracy, right? I mean, that's the thing with difficulty. You put the difficulty up on certain games, it's like all or nothing, right? I mean, everything is like unrealistic to the point where it just wants to challenge you, versus easy is literally just easy and they're mindless. There's no middle ground. Um, so yeah, just options. That's the part that I want is options to tailor, you know, my tailor my experience and make it as difficult or as easy as I want it to be. Most games I don't want to be easy, but I think that when games come out broken with certain things that would make the game more difficult, then you have to kind of adjust them. But a lot of games don't have that option. So I think that that's what more games need to add is an option to adjust and tailor make the game the way you want it. I mean, GTA doesn't have a difficulty, right?
No.
So that's
I don't
something
think the division.
I've never really had an issue with
division has a difficulty.
I think most games don't. I mean, I didn't say most games, but most games like that don't. I mean, I don't think Neo had one. Bloodborne don't have one. Hades, I don't think Hades have one. There's a few games.
The new one has it where you can kind of tailor make your experience, and you can pick difficulties for certain things, like how aware they are or how quick they can detect you, and things like that. Versus just having one flat out difficulty.
And I think
releasing everything.
Yeah, I think Sekiro is another one that did not don't have a difficulty as well. It's just my thing is I'm with you on the
difficulty.
Right, I'm with you with the options, but I do like the games that come out and say, hey, look, this is what it is. You play or you put the game down. They're like I think the majority of games should have difficulty, like you said, but I'm here for the games that don't. This is what the game is built like.
I think the ones you're talking about, I agree with. Like, I don't want a difficulty in Crash Bandicoot. I don't want a difficulty in Cuphead, right? But when you get into the realistic shooters and RPGs, I think they would benefit from more options. Like with Call of Duty, for example. I don't want them to shoot as precisely as they would on hardened, but I would prefer if they would, kind of change their pattern of when they stand up and pop their head up or whatever, right? It's almost just like playing whack-a-mole.
Man, trust me, I know. I was playing Call of Duty. That stream I did with Call of Duty when I played it on, I didn't play on the hardest. I played on second to the hardest, but it was like, 3 shots, I was done.
But it's like playing whack-a-mole when they pop up because, they don't use their cover smartly, right? It's just,
right.
They kind of have a pattern that they need to, change up every now and then so that you kind of are caught off balance sometimes. Maybe sometimes they'll sneak behind you. I mean, shit, they had a setting in Last of Us 2. What, enemies couldn't come from behind you or something like that? Yeah,
it was something like that. I couldn't remember. It was something weird. My thing is, I love a good challenge. I mean, this goes back to what I was saying about me. Like, when we was fussing about games a while back when I was telling I don't want people to play with me that don't know what they're doing. Like, me, I know that I'm not the best at games, but I find the joy in learning a game and getting better as I go. Because when I was playing Neo 2, I wanted to remind you, the closest thing I ever played to Neo 2 was Jinshi, the Way of the Samurai. That's a PS2 game. And Dynasty Warriors and Hyrule Warriors. Those like the only 3 games that was close. And those games they're not as difficult as Neo. So when I was playing it in the beginning of the stream, I was more like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna do this. I don't know if I'm gonna be good with it. But as much as I continue to get better at it, by the time I was in the middle of my first stream, I done completed the first boss. I beat the second mini boss. By the time I did the second stream, I wasn't necessarily running through the game, but I got a grasp of it to the point where the game itself was very familiar with me. And I find that satisfying because I think people like Complementary Sports said Mega Man, he talking about old Nintendo games. Even with OG, he says, I'm with you, VF. It's like, that's where you get your gaming skills from, by learning a game, getting better as you go, instead of just having a game to just constantly just, you run through the game, or you just find it so difficult to the point where you're not actually learning the mechanics of the game. Mike Tyson Punch-Out is a perfect example of that. You had to learn the mechanics and the tendencies of each boxer.
UFC 4. UFC 4 is a prime example of that. I sucked at UFC 4 when it first came out. Now all of a sudden I'm getting better at it. 2K Next Gen is also the same way. It was an adjustment period for me. I can feel myself, getting better at the game. But UFC 4, it's like it has such a deep button system, and there's so many different moves you can do, and every fighter fights different, which makes it really hard.
This goes back to like what I was saying. It's one of the reasons why I like arcade shooters. I don't know if y'all can see this. Let me see if I can pull this up. I may not be able to. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can pull this up. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna kick it out.
Oh boy.
Let me see. Do y'all see that?
Yep, see it.
I got that game just playing right here on my screen, on my TV. I just got it playing. Now, this game right here is an arcade shooter. I love learning the patterns of this game just to see if I can beat it. Like, games like this, I could play this all day because these games are, like, super difficult, but it enhances my hand-eye coordination and my skill of using a joystick and or just using a controller because these games are, like, hella hard. But I like to play these games to continue to up in my skills in playing these games.
Well,
so
I was about to say the most recent game, like big game that came out, Cuphead, was like that.
Exactly, that's another one. And you know what? I'm almost done with that game. I got almost to the end of that game and I just stopped playing, which I don't know why. I guess it was other games I was playing. But I need to go ahead and finish that game because that game was another game that actually pushed me to the limit. And it's like, those are the games. That's another good one right there. Contra is a good one. Contra is not as hard as people make it out to be. Go play Super C. Play the sequel. That game's hard.
I was on Cuphead, man. Somebody told me to play that game. I don't know how many years ago this was. I got stuck on this one mission. And you talk about competitiveness. I literally stayed up until I beat that shit. Right?
But that's what it's about, though.
It was like, bro, I started playing this one level at like 9 o'clock. When I tell you it was 3 a.m. and I was going to bed after I beat the shit. And then I realized there was an unlock that I could have been using the whole time and had no idea that he had this special little shooter shit. I was like, what the fuck? I was so heated, but I was at the same time like, at least I got past the level. Now I have this and I'll, be able to use it. But now, some of these levels are going to be easy. But yeah, bro, Cuphead challenged me like no other game really other than Limbo.
But that was just like, oh, go ahead, DJ. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because there were a couple of games. Nintendo Legendary Wings. Everybody.
Oh yeah.
That one.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
And on top of that, because Capcom had, I don't know if Capcom did that, but what was it? Then there was like 1943.
Yeah, that's another shooter. Yeah, that's another good one. Yeah. That's another good one.
I could use Battlefield 5 as an example as well. Me and DJ talked about it. I really had to adjust to the guns.
Well, you got to understand. I mean, even Battlefield 4, I had to adjust to what, because the guns in that game, they were literally different. Now, Battlefield 5 compared to 4, it's like, yeah, Battlefield 3 is like, you like me, I had to stick with one gun and actually learn it, because if I keep switching over and over, it's gonna take me forever to like learn it all over again. Because I play with the G36. And that's the gun I like to use, but it takes you a while to like, okay, I'm gonna play with the G36, then I'm gonna turn around and try to play with the PKP, or then I'm gonna play with the MP5. Those games are so good that those weapons just feel different. They're like,
I had to learn the tap method because I played Call of Duty. Shooter I played, but when you play Battlefield, you gotta learn that you're just not about to be running around running gunning everybody.
Yeah, that recoil is real, bro.
Yeah, and two was with certain guns, really all of them. If you're shooting somebody in the distance, you better tap shit. If they're running from you and they're close to you, you better tap.
Right.
But bro, oh god, don't remind me of Battlefield.
I'm trying to see if anybody can remember the two favorite guns that I tend to run with.
I know one is the Scar H. I know that. I know that's one I used to play with. But I can't remember the other one, but I know Scar H was one that you used to play with.
The other one was the M416.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's
M4,
right.
But not the 1.6.
Yeah, I remember the M4 one used to.
No matter what game it is, whether it's because PUBG has both of them. Yeah, I think the Division has them. Of course,
the Division has them.
See, Call of Duty got me hip to the Scar H before Battlefield did, and Battlefield had the 4.16, and I was just like, yeah, those are the two guns I would use.
Battlefield 4 had the MX4,
Oh, that was a nice one too.
SMG, that shit was nice.
Yeah, the MX4 was nice. Yeah, and that one and the MPX, but the MPX is a DLC. That's a DLC. You had to get the final stand or something. You had to get the DLC to get the MPX. But those are both of those are great.
Battlefield 4, man.
You know what? The funny thing, the mechanic that a lot of people wouldn't use, that I don't think people used often, was the firing modes, switching in between like single.
Yeah, you can switch single, the double. Yeah.
I usually just go
auto. Because it's like auto, semi, and then single shot. I usually, for the Scar H, I often switch to single shot because it had power, like what, 5.56 bullets? I mean, as far as the size of the bullet, so
it did a lot of damage.
Yeah, so
I just run around too much, man. I run around too much to use single shot. I have to use what you call.
Yeah, everyone knows me. I'm posted up. I don't camp. I move, but most of the time, my kills, I'm stationary. I'm just like pop, pop, pop.
Eddie was probably pretty good on Battlefield 4 because like. The thing about Battlefield 4 that's different from Call of Duty is if you're playing the right way, you're not really having many gun battles. Like not nearly as much as Call of Duty. I mean,
no, you're not. If you're playing any other mode outside of, if you're playing TDM obviously, or if you're playing Gunmaster, if you're playing those two on Battlefield 4, you're not having many gunfights. It's more like a semi-tactical game than anything. Like if you got good teamwork outside of those other two modes I just mentioned. Like you can dominate another team, like if you got guys who know what they're doing.
But even then, like in TDM on Battlefield 4, I mean, a good game was 20-4, right? In Call of Duty, it's 40-4.
Right.
You're not finding and shooting at 40 people in a battlefield. I don't care what map you're on. It could be fucking Siege of Shanghai. You're not shooting at. It could be Flood Zone. You're not shooting at 40 people.
That's like the worst map in the world. My God.
Flood Zone. You gotta go downstairs to get around half the time because these bitches are camping. Yeah, I'll never forget. Oh my God.
Flood Zone is like the worst.
Battlefield 3 had a nice map. CN Crossing.
Yeah.
That was a nice map.
I'll never forget when Zia put his shot down the fucking. He's like, I'm tired of this shit. He goes up there, he got the fucking RPG. He shoots down all them little huts.
Oh yeah, yeah, because they was in the window. Camping. Yeah, they was in the window just camping. I was like, I'm tired of this shit.
And then the steps where you would come around, you go downstairs and go all the way around and come up. They were camping up there. They had claymores and all this shit.
I was like, nah, I was a fuck that. I took the RPG and just took down all those little buildings. I got tired of that. I'm tired of that. Can't do this.
One thing I miss, man. Call of Duty's, like I said, it's like paintball, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we talked about this before. It's like, it's a fun game, and that's what it's for. I think a lot of people try to take Call of Duty a little bit too serious when the game don't take it serious themselves. I think the first time Call of Duty actually tried to take themselves serious was like the current Modern Warfare, the one that came out, the recent, because those guns actually started to hit like a Battlefield game, but you still went back to where it was more like Call of Duty type. But Call of Duty's always been like that, and I think people at this point, if you haven't realized that at this point, then you're an idiot. You're one of those guys who think Pat Mahomes should be the GOAT right now. Like,
because when I played Battlefield for the first time, I'm like, holy shit, destructible environments.
Yeah.
It was new to me because when I used the RPG in Call of Duty, right, you'd shoot at a wall and you'd see a spot, but it wouldn't blow the wall up. And then you shoot one on Battlefield, you're like, oh shit. I just knocked this whole fucking building down.
The whole wall just made a big hole. Right. What the hell,
But you know what? There was a game that was third person and had destructible environments. VF, you know which game I'm talking about, right? Red Faction?
Oh, yeah. Red Faction. I wonder if I still got that game.
I have it.
I wonder if I still got
about playing in a multiplayer arena with totally destructible
environments. Yeah, it was.
But you could also rebuild those environments, so it was kind of to Fortnite.
Yeah, I wonder if I still got it. I think I still got it over here. I don't know.
Re-download Battlefield 4.
I thought you about to say re-download Fortnite. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna mute you.